Alright, so we're back to another repair job on the skid steer. So it's, as you know, it's always something on the equipment side of things that's breaking down. If you're using it, it's breaking down. If you're not using it, it's breaking down. In this case, we were using it. You can see down here, we were running it at the time. This is the spindle that one of these travel wheels ride on. There's a bearing that goes on here and all that stuff, and then a nut holds it on here. It should look like this. That's still in good shape there. But as you can see, it doesn't quite look like that. The bearing went out of this. There was nothing to give us any indication that it was out. The skid steer was operating properly for the condition that we were in. You couldn't really feel it in the controls or anything. So it wore this spindle out, which now means we have to grind this weld here off, this weld on the back side, just like this one off, and then take this spindle out, and I've got a new spindle to go in here. So this weld is what I've got to grind off right here in order to get this coupling out. And then it should have a hole that'll come out with it. This is a fillet weld. So with a fillet weld, it's not a great deal. It's not a full penetration weld, most likely. So if that being the case, I should be able to take the surface off of it, get it down to where I can start to see, beat around on it a little bit, and it'll open that hole up to where I can see the dimension of that hole that they drilled through there originally. I've got the new shaft for it. It should go right back in. The coupling looked a little bit larger, which I'm hoping it's not, but if so, I've got a end grinder that I can waller it out a little bit with. The key component in doing this is when you replace this, you've got to get that shaft back in. It's got to be square off of this, both ways, up and down. So it's got to be square this way, and I guess you'd say plumb this way, but squared off of this post and squared off of this post have to be equal. X and Y have to be equal. That way your travel, when you put your new wheel on there, your idler wheel, it's not tilted to the side a little bit, allowing your track to sway and maybe jump off track. So that's an important step of this. So we're gonna get started grinding that off now. I do want to note that I'm not a professional mechanic by no means, nor do I have all of the correct PPE or equipment. I'm using a Makita side grinder, 4-inch wheel, without a guard and without a hand cover, because it's not going to allow me to get in back there with those on. So something that you got to be real careful about. I do have a face shield. I am going to wear a face shield, and I have some gloves that I use to run my meal on. But this is not exactly the safest way to doing this, so don't do this at home, boys and girls, without the proper gear. Let's see what happens. Still got a little ways to go, but I can start to see the crack right here. I'll try and zoom in on it where the shaft didn't have a full penetrate, so it leaves you a detailed line. So when if I do this right, I should be able to grind both these sides down to where I can see that, and then drive this completely out, which is going to be great if that's the case. Alright, I'm not sure how well you're going to be able to see this. I'm going to zoom in here and see if I can't point this out to you without getting the focus out of whack here. Alright, right through here, the tip of that finger, you can see that faint line. It's a straight, perfect line that runs around there. And that line is what we're looking for. That line is the hole that this was cut into. So I take a little bit off this side here, a little bit more all the way around on this top side over here, and I think I can get that out of there. Really counting on my brother to come through for me and come up this weekend, bring his welding machine with him, and he has a gas drive welding machine that he can bring, because we don't have the power service here to run one. I've got a 110 volt, but it doesn't weld very well, so I need to invest in a new welding machine. Alright, that line is visible all the way around real nicely now. So what I'll do is go to the other side. Oh yeah, that really opened it up right there. So what I'll do is go to the other side, do the same thing, and then I'm going to try and drive that spindle out this way. Ground and ground and ground and ground. Let's see what happens. Back here it's a different story. You can't hardly see what is what's going on with it, but out here you can see the cut real well. So there it goes. Bam! There's the shaft. Come out pretty nicely. Surprisingly easy. Now we got that perfect hoe in there. We'll clean that up just a little bit, knock the edge off of it, the burr off of it, shine it up real good to where we have good contact for the new electrode, for the new weld. Go from there. Here's the new shaft. It's going to go in there. Should fit right in snug. Oh, and it does fit snug, so we'll have to get the nuts, stick the nuts on there and tap it on in. I don't want to damage that by just tapping on it. They gave me these spacers that go in here, and they're gonna just ride right here. They don't fit nowhere near. Oh goodness, buddy! Like I would think that it would. I'm assuming that's. And if you look here real closely, there's grooves wore into this frame from the other wheel when the bearing went out of it. So maybe that is to protect that portion of it, but. Anyway, we're going to put them on there, even though none of the rest of them have them on there. we're going to put them on there anyway. Alright, so got a little nut on there. Use that to drive this on in. It's a snug fit, so I'm not concerned about the X and Y planes on this. I mean, there's no actually, like, maybe a 94th of slack in there, which isn't much. Thanks, bud. So we're not going to worry about getting this X and Y plane on. What we are going to worry about is getting this centered up so that the bearing and shaft and nut and everything fit on properly, and that the wheel will work in the same location as the rest of the track, so all these are in line. So that's the only thing left that we got to do. At this point, we're waiting on my brother to show up with the welding machine, and then we'll be good to go. We can get this measurement set. We can get the fillet weld put back in, and then we should be in good shape.
Come on, Preston.
All right, so here's the shaft that I took out of there. As you can see, this end right here, pretty nice, good shape. No real deficiencies or issues. I guess I hit that thread with the grinder maybe when I was back there working. I wasn't aware of. But this end, yeah, it's a little messed up. You can see how much, and I didn't hit that with the grinder except for right there on that very tip. If I even did that, I guess I did. But you can see the thread is just about eaten off of it. The spindle itself, where the bearing and the race bearing sets, is all just eat up. So even actually, heck, all the way back to the weld itself, it's all eat up. This side over here is consistent, but on that side I ground it down into this material to free that weld up.
There you go.
Glad to get it out of there though, and not being very hard at all. Shockingly, just saved myself a lot of money right there.